Thank you for your interest in this auction. What we're going to take a closer look at here are these really incredible full-page photo spreads that were run in the Philadelphia Evening Bulletin to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the beginning of World War I. They published a photo spread each day, or most days it would seem. At least this person has collected 40 of them here. There were a few missing days in between, so I don't know if he just didn't get those issues or if they didn't publish that day, but there are 40 of them, and they run through the months of February and March of 1934. Again, Evening Bulletin, Philadelphia. So you can have a look at them here. They've been stored folded, and they're not in perfect condition. There's a lot of age showing on them, but they're pretty good. You can see, we're going to open one up here and take a look. So here's the first one that he has, which is February 6th, and you can see just beautiful photographs of these World War I tanks and their captions, and like a mini story or paragraph there. It shows the soldiers in their doughboy helmets, a trashed tank there. There's the Hindenburg Line, and there it says from the North Sea. I guess they're showing you an elephant gun there, it says. So just really interesting memorabilia from the war. So we'll just take a quick look just so you can see all the headlines here. Each one of these, like I say, they're folded in half, and they're actually a full page. It's only on one side. If you look on the back of the page, they had other news. So what they did was a single full page spread for each of these. So we'll just look at the headlines and you can get an idea what's in these, and just know that below the fold there's more on each page. So getting into the month of February, it talks about the invasion or the war proceeding to Palestine, and there you have the British troops in Palestine. Death and destruction stalked through Europe unchecked, just showing you a destroyed landmark, and just these amazing scenes, just really, really crisp pictures that they have here. And again, there's more at the bottom of each page. Nations invoke divine aid in slaughter and mutilation. 5 fronts flame with passions of war. Talks about the multiple fronts, the foxholes, mine craters they're showing you there. Flotsam and jetsam from the red tide of war. So talking about the Holocaust of hatred going on in Europe. Interesting that they use the word Holocaust, and this was World War I. The Yanks are coming. So this is talking about the U.S. involvement, and just a picture of all the troops marching in. Again, more about destruction. A destroyed home, a destroyed church, burned down forest. That one speaks for itself, and so forth. Again, more pictures on the bottom of each page. Just incredible. There are 40 of these, so an enormous number of pictures. Russia's involvement there, what's going on in Russia. Tsarism, talking about this was simultaneous, of course, with the revolution going on in Russia, and they're covering that point and that angle of it. So we'll just keep flipping through these. These are the main headlines. Each, as you can see, each day was a theme, and they have photos and information around that theme. Again, there's a totally destroyed apartment building. More about America's involvement entering the war, 1917 through 1918. The naval transports, the entanglements of the lines, troops in foxholes. Again, there's the over there theme with the Americans marching in formation to join the war in Europe. Again, these are not perfect. Some of them have staining, some of them have dog-earing, a little bit of edge tearing. They are obviously age fragile. These newspapers are all 100 years old, and some have more staining than others. You can even see some might have gotten some moisture damage going on there, although it would be very old, not recent damage. If there's any smell, it's very faint, so this is not recent. There's probably moisture damage in the early days of storage, as you can see there on some of these pages. But it doesn't prevent from reading any of them. Some chipping going on the edge there, you can see, but nothing significant. Again, Wilson's famous quote, "We must make the world safe for democracy." Talking about ships, the dangers of the naval forces, the transports being sunk, men in the water, so forth. Again, each day was a particular theme. Long Way to Tipperary. Brotherhood of Man in a Shell-Shocked World. Talking about the shelling. God Gave All Men the Earth to Love, and how it's obviously being destroyed, the havoc that's being wreaked across Europe. No Peace Without Victory. The only way out is forward. And then more about Jerusalem and the battles that were going on there. Wings of Death, talking about the planes. This particular one has a good-sized tear that apparently got put in at some point, but I don't see any missing material. Again, there's more about the pilots of the warbirds, the Ace, and so forth. This is all related to the World War I pilots. Each one must fight to the end. Another quote, this one from Marshall Haig. Just incredible stories, incredible pictures. The issue hangs in the balance. The difficult years of the war becoming entrenched. Germany launches her bolt. About March 21st, 1918, when Germany was trying to push to win. America reaches the battle arena. These are roughly in chronological order. Dust heap called history. A raid, more burnt out forests, burnt out cities. Beginning of the end, and now we start getting toward the end of the war, and they're talking about how we actually achieved victory. Freedom of the seas. We're able to gain the upper hand. And the naval battles, the minesweepers, a U-boat surrendering to the U.S. destroyers. Again, there's more on the bottom of all these pages. We're just peeking at the tops of them. And then we're talking about the Romanovs. All this is going on at the same time as World War I. There's our friend Rasputin. And so this is all talking about what was happening in Russia with the Russian Revolution. American front flames into action. The desperate battle. Propaganda from airplanes calling for peace. Talking about the leaflets that were dropped. There's one in German. Twilight for the Hohenzollern dynasty. Talking about the successor to the Kaiser. And then the end of the slaughter. Here we go. The World War ended at 6 o'clock this morning. There's the headline from November 11th, 1918. Talking about the victory, talking about the celebrations. As you can see, this is all about the end of the war. Farewell to dreams of an empire. So the end of any hope for Germany as they've surrendered. Then it gets into wrapping up the war, after the war, refugees, celebrations. You can see the one there in Paris. Unknown soldier laid to rest. And then a dawn of new era in world affairs. This is the last article, at least the last one that this gentleman saved. I assume it was probably the last article in the series, March 22nd, 1934. So this ran through most of February and March. And that is the end of that. Now real quick, we're going to take a look at the scrapbook that I'm throwing in. Again, as mentioned, this scrapbook is very, very fragile with age. You know, these scrapbooks were not made of the best paper, but the articles in there are very interesting. And again, this was all clipped from newspapers of the time. The headlines were "The First World War Told in Pictures," and it's really related to those newspaper articles that we saw. So he tried to lay out all these pictures in chronological order. Very interesting collection of pictures. I'm just going to flip through them. This scrapbook, of course, is mostly photographs. The Fall of Brussels. Chapter 4. It's arranged in chapters here. So, just to show you that the scrapbook, again, is fragile, especially the first pages. As you know, if you've had any scrapbook that's about 100 years old, well, actually it's about 80 years old, the fragility is especially in the first and last pages. As you get toward the center where it's had less exposure to oxygen, the pages are a little more stable. But all in all, the newsprint in here is great. It's really the pages of the scrapbook. You could remount these things if you want. And just showing you how many pictures are in here. The entire scrapbook is not full from front to back, but a good deal of it is. Recognize Notre Dame there. And some of these are a little, that's the adhesive that's attaching this. It's kind of a little hokey the way they attached it. Talking about manning the boats. A church that was burned down, the crucifix is still there. Bells that are being melted down to make into cannons. Just amazing pictures. If you're looking for pictures, original pictures of memories of World War I, you've got them here. Just realizing that these are not 1918, these are 20 years later, and it was stories told in the Philadelphia papers. For the ship going down, the Zeppelin going down. The guns and ammunition that they used, explosion of a landmine. Really just the amazing pictures that they have here. And I'm still flipping pages. There are a lot of pages in this scrapbook. I'm just flipping them quickly so you can get an idea of the quality of the pictures. Look at all that ammunition, food for the big guns. And that brings it to the end. As you can see, there are a number of unused pages in this scrapbook because they just clipped through the chapters. I guess this was presented in 20 chapters in the newspaper that these came out of, which was also, I believe, Philadelphia. And these all came from the same estate, from the same owner. So there's your scrapbook with that information. Here are your 40 folded pages from February and March. And there you go. Happy bidding on this auction. I would say one thing I would do with this if I had my own World War I museum is I would open these all out and get a really good frame for each one, get 40 frames, frame them nicely, lay them nice and flat, and just put them all around the walls. You have a museum right there in a box. So happy bidding, and I hope you win it.